Hello and welcome to the March 15th bug triage meeting for Operator SDK. Looks like we got a bunch of stuff on the docket, so we're just going to get right into it. Move this thing out of the way. Ansible Helm providing the same flags as Go. This is a feature request. Is Camilla here this morning?
I think my understanding is she's trying to make the flags consistent between Go, Ansible, and Helm.
That sounds pretty reasonable.
I think the reason was initially with either V2 or whatever, everything was, they may have been the same. And then when we went to V3, we didn't update the others. So I think that's what she's trying to do.
You mean V2 of Kube Builder, right?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Or V2 plugin, I think.
But that's really based on
Kube Builder.
Kube Builder.
Yes.
I mean, I like this in idea. I mean, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, and I think she was, I don't know if she posted a PR for this one or not, but I believe she was also basically deprecating the old ones, leaving them there, and then adding the new ones so that they align, so they're not breaking. And then at some point we can get rid of them. So,
when did we go from V2 to V3 for Golang? Do you know what release?
1.4, I think.
And did we do the same thing there? All the old flags are technically still there and still work?
No, V3 never had the old flag names.
I'm sorry, it never what?
It never had the old flag names. It used the new flags. V2 used the old flag names.
No. So I'm saying in Operator SDK, if we switched from the old V2 flags to the new V3 flags, how is that not a breaking change for the Golang stuff?
Because the plugin is attached to the CLI for the binary 2. So depending on what V2 or V3 you use to create your project, different flags will pop up.
So if you're using the new Operator SDK with an old project, it'll still work. You'll still see the old stuff. But if you generate a new project, it'll be V3 style.
Exactly.
Okay. Why not do that with this?
We can. The other thing we can do is deprecate the current flags and add the new flags to the current plugin.
That's what she's doing, is deprecating and adding.
Yeah. I don't think it's worth making an entire new plugin for changing flag names, but what we would do is eventually make a new plugin and then remove all the deprecations.
Okay. So that all sounds cool. When do we want to do this by?
Well, if Camilla's not here, then to say whether she can work on this or not.
I mean, she self-assigned this 2 days ago.
Yeah, I'll let her put that into a milestone, but for now we can put it in the backlog.
It's a PR.
Okay.
4654 is a PR. So.
Oh, she already has a PR open?
Yeah, that 4654, I think, is the PR for it. So, but I agree with Eric. We can put it in a backlog and then she can decide to move it based on the outcome of the PR.
Okay. Cool. Ansible Helm add help to make file. This seems similar. So I'm going to do the same thing. Any objections?
Nope, none from me.
Question about creating bundle images for OLM. Looks like he's trying to jump along on the tutorial a little bit, going straight to deploying with OLM.
Sounds like he's missing the operator image.
Yeah, maybe we can check those docs and make sure that we're properly making it clear that that's an image that you need to build.
I mean,
Or
Yeah, because when you do, there should be a make Docker build and a make Docker push of your operator. And right now he's only doing the bundle. And unless he specified the operator's image, which usually would be Nginx operator.
yeah, I find it curious that he has this line in the list of things he did, considering I'm completely certain, because I just went over that stuff, that there's a single line in the tutorial that's like make Docker build Docker push. So I think he started doing things on his own instead of copying stuff. And yeah, I would agree that it sounds like he's not building his things correctly. Does somebody want to take this on and respond? I can do it. I've been going over this stuff. Do we just want to put this in the backlog? Because I imagine probably not going to be too much actionable coming out of this.
Agreed.
yeah, that makes sense.
Well, is this support, Eric? I'm not 100% certain on.
Yeah.
Okay. Best practices advice concerning update of conditions or events. It sounds like more of a generic Kubernetes question.
Unless it's related to OLM
Yeah,
conditions.
Oh, is
Seems
there-
better suited to Slack probably. Yeah, it's just kind of asking general like API design question.
Can I get a volunteer for somebody to respond to this guy?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay, cool.
Was that Fabian?
That was Eric.
Eric. And put it in the backlog.
Yeah.
Helm operator doesn't work with kube Prometheus stack. Oh.
This has to do with the native list type that's being used. You know how there's like pod list and like deployment list and types like that. Those are wrapper types around like one particular type of object, but there's also this like kube list object that can contain an arbitrary list of objects. And the Helm operator doesn't understand that. It's like it's not an obscure feature necessarily, but it's not one that's often used. So I think that's just a slight oversight on the Helm operator side of things.
Yeah, well, I think it's like I think that list specifically that one doesn't even exist API server side, right? That's purely client side.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I think the other lists will be returned by the API, but I believe like the V1 list type is one that only exists in the clients, something like that. Yeah.
It sounds like that responder said that they will work on it eventually.
Yeah, I mean, this is Martin. I know who this guy is. He's another IBMer. And yeah, it sounds like he's working on it. Oh, hello? Am I still here?
Yeah.
Yes.
I would I mean, if they want to assign themselves, then they can go for it, and then we can
Tell you
move
what.
to a.
I'm going to assign him, and if he doesn't like it, he'll bother me about it. How does that sound?
Sure. I take no responsibility for the fallout. And then put it in the backlog.
Oh,
Okay, anything else on this one? Doc, which describes the layout generated. This is like the project layout?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is necessarily affect our decision regarding this, but this is something I'm covering in the tutorial I'm currently writing, because our documentation does not describe it, and it was confusing to me.
I think we had something like this a while back, and we still might have something related, but it's not as thorough as it could be. So this could be valuable. The only concern would be this drifting, but the project structure doesn't really change that much. So, but some new files will be added occasionally. We just have to remember to update this.
Sounds like a good candidate for the post 1.0 docs release we're totally going to do next.
Yes.
Yeah, she's got a PR for this one too. I reviewed it.
Oh, does she really?
Yeah, she pretty much created the PRs and the issues all at once.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and assign her to this then. She's already got an open PR for it.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on this one? And component config for Ansible Helm. Is this the same thing? In that she has an open PR for it already?
It looks like it.
Great.
45, 42.
To create projects using component config. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh,
what
no.
this is.
This does not have a PR. That's another issue on this particular one. This also goes back to how consistent or up to date do we keep Helm and Ansible with Go?
Well, I think in an ideal world, I would like to maintain feature parity on them.
Agreed.
Is that a realistic goal?
Well, part of the problem with Ansible and Helm and it using a component config is when you do that, you're configuring the underlying runner for your operator code, and that level of detail has been abstracted in some cases because it doesn't make sense in the context of your Ansible or Helm project. And if it does, it might be renamed to something else. So I'd like to talk about those differences and why we might not want to expose those things here.
So I'm not 100% certain what component config actually is.
Component config takes the configuration options for a manager and turns them into a config file so that you can just load the YAML equivalent of these options at runtime.
In the controller I'm writing?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. But for Helm and Ansible, isn't that the controller we write?
Yeah, that's why this is a problem.
But I'm
or it
saying,
could be a problem.
How would that functionality ever be exposed to the actual person writing an operator?
You know the Ansible operator and Helm operator binaries that we exposed?
Yeah.
Those those can be configured directly with this component config. And because they're in the image that you use as a base for your operator image, you can pass this component config to that binary.
But I'm saying, how would I actually make use of that functionality?
I don't exactly know what you mean. You're asking like, how would I write this component config in the first place, or?
Maybe I'm misunderstanding what this is used for. I thought you meant that this would be used to do some sort of like dynamic access or use of presumably the CRD type doing reconciliation.
No.
No?
Completely different. This is configuring the operator itself to do stuff, or I should say to be set up differently. I highly recommend looking at the component config documentation. I think that would clear up a lot that I'm not explaining properly right now.
Okay. I mean, it's not 100% relevant. I'm just saying, like, how would we intend for this to actually be exposed to the end user? I'm writing a Helm operator. Is this just something that needs to be turned on in the controller?
Yeah.
Okay.
More or less. But that, once again, like, it's weird because we have this level of indirection right now, because the Helm and Ansible operators aren't what you are running these things, but that's not like the core logic of your operator. So like, why are we exposing this lower level thing? And it's not entirely clear to me that we should expose everything, but I think some of the things in this component config object are valuable to end users. So basically what I'm saying, this needs discussion, if you could put that label on there.
So we want to put it in
Backlog.
Ooh, okay. When do you foresee this discussion taking place?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well,
I can follow up with my concerns, so that would start the discussion.
okay. Would you mind if I assigned you to this issue?
Sure.
Just trying to make sure these things don't get lost.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else about this one? Ansible Helm should also provide the specific service account. Looks like she already has a PR open for this one.
I don't know why she put bug on this though. This is not a bug.
Is this providing its own service account for the controller to use?
Yeah.
Okay, well, she's already got a PR open, so.
Can you remove the bug label?
No. I feel like it can't be both a bug and a feature. Do you just want to put this in the backlog then? She's already got it up.
Yeah, backlog.
Sometimes bugs are features.
Wouldn't
That's
A lot of my
Bug?
features end up being bugs.
Ansible operator does not detect unauthorized changes to resources that are managed by the operator on a multi-namespace mode. What is multi-namespace mode?
It's something specific to the CSV file, where you deploy the operator to watch multiple namespaces, but they're predefined at runtime.
How does OLM handle that? It's not something you have to build into the operator. It's something OLM handles for you.
Yeah, more or less. There's a configuration option to create caches for each namespace when the manager is started. But OLM will also do some stuff when you want to install the operator in multi-namespace mode.
Seems like his reconciliation loop isn't triggering for some reason.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe OLM's not setting watch namespace the way that the operator is expecting. Or something, because it seems like it works locally for the user. It's just not working when OLM is doing it.
Yeah, I wonder if they're not, if the annotation or the environment variable source isn't being set correctly in the CSV. That would be my first
Yeah.
question.
That would be my guess. Is that it's just not like what's getting deployed doesn't have the multi-namespace configuration.
Yeah.
Sounds like this is sort of more of a OLM thing than a us thing.
I don't know. Maybe Fabian, do you want to handle that?
Yeah, you can assign that one. I'll take a look at it.
OLM integration tagging. Is that?
Yeah.
Fun? Backlog.
Yeah.
Anything else on this one? Operator SDK run bundle cannot pull private bundle image.
Yeah, this is just a straight up feature request.
So
The
currently,
way
do we
that run
not?
bundle, what's that?
I was going to say, currently, do we not support authentication of any kind for private images?
Not exactly, no. So OPM is what we use under the hood to pull bundle images and build them into an index image to serve to OLM, and that that OPM command runs within a pod in the cluster. So if that pod does not have the proper credentials mounted through a secret, then it can't do anything. So clearly there needs to be some good UX around mounting an image pull secret in cluster. So this is just a feature. It's something that we would like to have in run bundle fairly soon, but I would maybe put like important priority, important long term.
Yeah, I know some folks internally wanted this too.
Are you saying this is currently possible if you have the credentials mounted in the pod, like outside of the normal workflow of having your operator set up?
This is fully impossible. Yeah.
But you have to know to do that using just raw code moving stuff around.
You still couldn't do that because the command would fail. So technically run bundle would fail, and therefore this still doesn't work.
You basically have to do run bundle by hand, like all the different pieces that we're doing in order to do it.
Okay, so this sounds like a reasonable thing to want.
Yeah. Would anybody like to take this on?
I can work on this. This is Rashmi.
Great.
And when are we thinking? Keep in mind, the next numbered release is actually 2 releases from now. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, 1.7.0 is fine.
Okay, anything else on this one? Master Operator SDK version lists scorecard tag instead.
Yep. Recent change this week. When you run make build now and you do operator SDK version, you will get the latest tag, which is scorecard cuddle. And it used to be, because the tags were just v5, v, x.y.
did that happen?
Because we tagged scorecard as in the repo now to fix another issue from the last meeting we had.
Well, while not ideal, won't this go away the next time we cut a release?
Maybe. And then the next time you add another scorecard cuddle release, it'll be back.
Yeah.
And again, it only affects master because in the version branches, the version is already set based on the tags are, v.1.5.x branch does not have scorecard cuddle branches in it, tags in it.
This is only a cosmetic issue, if you want to even call it an issue. But there is probably something we could do about this. And I think Jesus' suggestion down at the bottom is reasonable.
Yeah, if it printed master dirty or whatever the thing was, the branch was, or something,
Yeah.
that would be acceptable.
I mean, the other thing is like version doesn't matter at all if you're building from master. We could literally just put that as unknown, and then the commit is in the version that you print. So there you go.
That would. Oh shit! I didn't even see that.
That's still
That's there too.
Is that the correct commit SHA?
Yeah.
Well, then I don't necessarily know if I care at all. This is still technically a correct version. It's the most recent. I mean, it's the most recent thing that was updated, and it's the current commit SHA.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus, if you want to explain why you think this is a problem, that would probably shed some light on why you created this.
Besides the cosmetic piece, I know that when you run if you do the version, it's confusing that it says scorecard cuddle. Because I don't, as a developer, I know it's a tag, but as a user, I mean, I am building out a master, yes. It still seems very odd that it even mentions scorecard.
Right. I would vote for changing version to master or the branch name, or
And even
ideally it would just say unknown if built from master, and then you only have the commit SHA because that is a source of truth.
That sounds right. Sounds good.
Yeah, unknown is fine with me because then I know that if you give me that version, I know you built it from master or you did not take an official release. The commit SHA tells me exactly where, and it's not confusing. But right now, I think someone would be like, hey, what is this? Well, you're building from master, but still.
Okay, is this something you want to do yourself?
Sure, I can do that.
Throw it in the backlog?
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else on this? Apply security something or other for Ansible Helm. So I'm not 100% familiar with security context whatevers. Do we generate cruft for that for the Golang?
I think it's the run as non-root true.
Oh, the stuff that gets stuck in the make file?
No, in
The Docker
your
file.
deployment, your operator's deployment. I think it's just a one-line change. Actually, if you want to open up that PR, let me just take a look.
Oh,
Yeah, I did. Sorry, folks. I think
Oh.
it changed the time zone. Usually it's 7 p.m. for me, but today was 6 p.m.
Oh, did daylight savings time happen?
Yeah, that was on Sunday.
In UK, I don't think they've moved. Or if they do. So
Yeah, I did the pull request for cheese one. But I still facing a problem, I think, in the pull request. So I'm working cheese one. If you look at the issues, I believe that it's not working. Can you check if he passed it in the CI? I passed it. So yeah, it's done. Sorry. I can't remove the work in progress. Just
What is the? It's just the run as non-root true
Uh,
or something.
can it, okay, it's just the security context for don't be root. Can we put it for the next release? Has the PR already? Very easy to check. Just I broke all chains.
I mean, I just stuck in the backlog because you already have a PR open, so it's probably just gonna get merged fairly soon.
Right, it's fine as well. No matter. Just I need your help for you folks to review.
All right. Anything else on this one? Provide a cheat sheet.
This has a pull request as well. The idea is like I put here the motivations behind that. If you look, it's more like today if I came from the old version to the latest version, for I check all options besides I be familiarized with the product, I need to read all documentations, the tutorial and all stuff to know how commands I can use, you know. So the idea is provide overview, which also allow people have a better idea over the features and how to do this stuff. Has other reasons as well. For example, you are new in the project, but you work with a Cube Builder. So you can just check that and see, okay, so SDK provided these entities on top.
I have looked for something like this sometimes. So now the one downside to having something like this is we have to be diligent about keeping them up to date.
Yeah, but we cannot change the flags or the comments as well because we are in a stable release. So shows that we would only maintain this document, change this document when we release it 2.0 if something changed. We cannot go there and you remove this stuff anymore. Yeah,
that's fine.
I thought on that as well. It would be hard to keep maintaining, and then I came up with the other argumentation in my mind.
Cool. Sounds fine. You already got a PR open for it, so I'm just going to put it in the backlog and probably be merged soon. Is that fine?
Yes, definitely. I just need your patience with me, folks, and the help to review.
Installation.
Yeah, this is the result of that scorecard cuddle tag coming up. So I think we just need to, well, the right way to fix this is to have a download page on the SDK website that points to latest Operator SDK binary releases. It would basically redirect to the GitHub releases page, but using rules that we set for redirects instead of just getting the arbitrarily latest tag based on commit ref time, which is how GitHub does it. Yeah.
Do we cut a release on a master? Like a latest?
There is, yeah, there is a release.
No, I was not aware that that was a thing we provided.
You're talking about for scorecard cuddle.
Yeah.
That is a new thing that happened last week. We discussed this the last monthly meeting, how we were going to start doing new releases for scorecard cuddle, and I made a post about it last week after the release went down.
It's funny because last week when I heard tag, I kept thinking Docker tag. And it didn't even occur to me it would be a git tag as well. And I was like, oh, yeah. But that's fine. That's what I get for not asking making the assumption.
Yeah,
Now, would it make sense to release do we have could this have been its own branch? Kind of like the way we do the SDK releases? I don't know if that makes any difference or not.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so these releases are as simple as pushing a tag. Like, you don't need to do anything else. So I don't think it's worth having a different branch.
Okay.
So is this going to be fixed by Jesus's thing, or?
No.
No.
I think this might actually be a one-time thing, because in the future, well, no, it's going to keep recurring.
Every time there's a scorecard cuddle release, we'll hit it.
Yeah, I was just thinking that the next time a tag is pushed, that like a release wouldn't actually happen, but I think GitHub treats every tag as a release. Even if it doesn't, if we do want to publish like a release for scorecard cuddle, which we probably do, because the only reason we would retag is if something changed, then this will break again. So I think much like KubeBuilder does things, they have a separate domain for downloading binaries. And so we should probably follow suit to control things like this.
How simple would it be to split scorecard cuddle out into its own repository?
I'm still unsure whether we even want to do that in the first place. But there was talk about this a while back. I don't know the answer to that question, but that's a much harder problem to solve. So my suggestion here is treating this as a bug and putting priority important soon on here. And you can actually assign this one to me too, because I think I know what I want to do with this, and I'll make a comment to that effect.
Where do we want to put it?
1.7 probably.
Cool. And that is it for today. Excuse me. Does anyone else have anything they want to talk about?
Oh, just me that to go inside later. Sorry, folks. Has something of the issues that I opened that has some question that I should answer.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think most of them we put on backlog assigned to you because they had PRs.
Okay.
And once they get merged, they end up in a release.
Okay.
I understood most, at least for a good of them. I mean, a good set of them. I saw the PR, so I kind of knew what they were doing.
That is great. Yeah. Really thank you for all help. Really thank you, Jesus, and Varsha and Eric as well for the helps in the reviews. I know that the docs ones is boring to review as well. So really thank you for the collaboration and support.
No problem.
Okay. If that's it, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording. Or I would if I could.